Come on in.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ann.
Hi, Trenton. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Go ahead and have a seat. So, before we start, I just kind of have to tell you a little bit about how confidentiality works. So, as your counselor, you can tell me anything that you would like. Feel free to be open, and it's just going to stay between me and you. But do know that if there's any expressed intent to harm either yourself or others, I do have to report that. But other than that, yeah, everything you say is completely safe between us. So feel free to share whatever you need to, whatever's going on. So tell me a little bit about what brings you here today.
Yeah, so, anyways, as you know, I'm Frank. I've been working for a chair company for the last several years. I actually started when I got out of college. So it's been a company that I've been super loyal to, and it's really just become a big part of my life, in just terms of where I'm really putting a lot of my time and stuff. And it's been something I've really been passionate about, just furniture producing and making and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to get too far into that, but so I was really involved with that. It was a super awesome job, in my opinion. Super awesome. I had super awesome incentives and stuff like that, so that was great. So here recently, we had a company that have been looking at us to buy us out, and just not really thinking that would be an actual thing that would happen. Ended up happening, which resulted in a lot of people getting laid off, including me, with a lot of my close friends. So it's just been really hard in that sense, and just some difficult stuff dealing with and with that, relating that to my family, and just seeing how that is rubbing off on my family, and just some of the troubles that it's brought in that sense. I just feel like I'm searching for answers right now, and nothing's really coming about, and I'm just really staying kind of stagnant in my progression. So it's been really rough, and just finding answers in that sense. So
Yeah, that's a really difficult situation to be in for sure. I know it puts a lot of stress on your family. What was your family life like before you lost your job?
Yeah, so I was already working a lot of hours at the factory beforehand. So I was putting in really long hours. Even though I've been with the company for so many years, I still kind of have the graveyard shift and work those really hard hours.
Right. Okay.
So it kind of makes it rough on my family in that sense. Is a lot of the time when I come home, I'm sleeping through everything that's kind of happening throughout their days. So it's not like I even get to see a lot of them anymore. So that's kind of stressful for me and hard for me, especially even harder for them, particularly. So that's always really hard, just to come back and just know that I'm not developing my relationship with my family. Before that was good. I actually didn't start working the graveyard shift until 3 years ago or so. Before all that stuff with the other corporation crossed over. So we just had a really close relationship and stuff, and now I just don't even feel like I know what my wife's doing ever. And she's just we just don't communicate a lot anymore and stuff. And I know she's not out doing anything that I wouldn't want to know about, but at the same time, it's just creating kind of some tension between my family and I. I have two kids, two awesome kids. One's 9, one's 11, a boy and a girl. Involved in super awesome things, super awesome kids. I just don't get to spend a lot of time with them anymore, and really even know what they're doing with their lives. So it's just really kind of hard for me to know that I'm not being the father for them that I want to be. And then knowing that this job stuff is just really rubbing off on my family in general. So,
Well, tell me a little bit more about how your job loss has affected your family specifically, because you said it's been adding some stress.
Right. So my wife and I, we kind of make the same amount salary-wise.
Sure.
So we kind of have a joint income. We actually have a joint income account. So now that I don't have that job, it's just created a lot of financial stress on us, and paying for to get food on the table, basically, little stuff like that. Gas in the car, paying for electric bills, and just our car payments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just all the little things that most people wouldn't worry about is just creating a big hit on us right now. So it's really, really stressful in that sense. And again, I just love my family so much and have a deep appreciation for them. So knowing that that my job loss is really affecting them is really stressful for me to know that. Again, because I just love them so much, I just want to take care of them. That's my number one duty as a man of the house, just making sure that I take care of my family first. So.
Yeah. And who was it that kind of led you to come to counseling?
So it was my friend Pete. He actually told me about this place. a couple weeks ago, and I was a little hesitant towards it, just because I felt like I kind of felt like I had it myself. I was like, I'll get it figured out. And again, I'm just searching for answers now. I'm like, okay, there has to be something. So this is kind of my first go-to. It's like my friend Pete recommended this to me, so I ought to check it out and see what's going on, So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think it shows that you're a very strong person because you are seeking help. I know sometimes people might feel, embarrassed to seek counseling and stuff, but really it's a strength if you look at it that way, just that you're seeking help and that you do want to get better. So I'm going to ask you this. What are your goals in coming to counseling? What would you like to get out of these sessions?
I honestly just want to be happy with my life, just because I was at a point before where I was just so happy and just super grateful for everything that I have in my life. And I guess, again, it's just hard to know that I should be happy about those things. I'm just not anymore because of these financial stresses and job stresses and trying to find a job. And yeah, so it's just created a lot of problems in that sense. So
yeah, tell me a little bit about the job search now.
Yeah, so I've actually gone online and looked for and done some job searches as well as just reading the paper and looking for some just any kind of part-time job that I can get right now. Obviously, if I could find some kind of awesome full-time job that would maybe relate to something that is with factory production, some sort of thing, that would be awesome. But again, I'm just looking for anything right now. Anything that will be able to help sustain my family as we move forward. But it hasn't been too great. I've gotten a few calls back just from a few different companies saying that they're not interested or they don't need anyone at the time. So it's actually been, that process has actually only taken over the last month or so. So it hasn't been that great. I'm kind of staying hopeful. At the same time, I just know it's hard that I am being rejected by so many people right now. So obviously that's affecting my courage a little bit as I keep going forward. But yeah, I feel like it could still go well. Just right now, it's really rough.
Yeah, that's a tricky spot. So what I hear you saying is you really have a great life, but it's just been a lot of stress has been put on you because of your job loss, and so now the financial is kind of weighing on you, and you feel maybe a burden just because of that to live up to this expectation for your family, and so you feel like you're letting them down a little bit.
Right.
You kind of feel that weight. Sure. So tell me a little bit about your support system. Do you have people that you can go to?
I really don't feel like I do. Like I said, I have a really close friend, Pete. He actually worked with me. He started seeing you guys a couple weeks ago, so that's actually how I heard about that. Because he's actually dealing with some similar stuff. I just feel like maybe not as deep as I am. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are some of the ways that you've been trying to deal with it all?
Well, I've actually, unfortunately, I've been going to some bars, and I've had alcohol problems in the past. But I feel like I've just been kind of drinking in moderation, just because I know it, and something that's been something in the past that's really kind of felt like it's made me feel good about myself, or just put me in I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like a last resort, but at the same time, it still makes me feel good. I just have to be careful about going back to old habits because I don't want it to affect my children or my wife, especially knowing that I don't have a lot of money to spend right now, and I just don't want to put myself in that situation. But other than that, I feel like I really haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been trying to kind of ignore it and just ignore the problem and just do some job searches and kind of uplift myself in that way, just having some kind of small hope that I might catch someone's interest in that sense. Other than that, just going to the bar downtown. Other than that, not a whole lot really. So that's always been kind of my coping mechanism in a way.
So you said that your main goal for this counseling sessions here is to be happy. So tell me a little bit about what happiness looks like. So maybe describe your perfect 5-year plan of what happiness would look like for you.
Yeah, so obviously to be happy, I would love to have a job that kind of matches the salary that I had before. So that would obviously number one, that would be the biggest thing for me, just to be happy, and just having that connection with my wife and kids again. Just because I feel like I've lost it even before the job loss, just kind of just having that distance and disconnectivity between them. Just because of the hours that I've been putting in and stuff. So really just simply having a job where I can just work good hours and just have like a good connection with my family. Having my kids know that I'm there for them, regardless of what's going on, as well as my wife. Obviously, that's my number one priority. So I feel like I'm a pretty simple guy in that sense of just wanting just flat out just that. I don't need anything big. So I think it's just going to start out with me just finding hope in myself and just a lot of strength and courage, just moving forward and trying to get out of the state of a slump, I guess. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that you are very self-aware, which is a strength. I think you can tell maybe where you'd like to grow and maybe where you need to take steps to further yourself and your job. So what I'm hearing is mainly that the main thing that's in your way right now is not having a job, right? And so it sounds like the main thing you need to just continue to do is just keep looking for a job, which I think you're trying to do. So, but yeah, no, it sounds like you have a plan, and that's great. So I just encourage you to keep just looking for a job and just to keep your spirits high because, again, I think you're doing really well. But so how about we meet the same time next week and kind of talk about how you're still doing?
Yeah,
Sound
that
good?
would be great. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.